This is a presentation about the registration procedure at the Open University of Sri Lanka. It is part of pre-registration counseling for the new intake to the Bachelor of Software Engineering program for the academic year 2025-26. Registration of new students for the software engineering program will take place on the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th of February, that is Wednesday to Saturday. You have to understand that registration at the Open University is complicated, much more complicated than regular universities. The reasons for this is that, first of all, we give our students the flexibility to choose their course load. In most other universities, all the students for a particular program in a particular year will do the same courses, or almost all the same courses. The other flexibility we have is we have an add drop. Many other universities don't have that. We will talk more about this later, but after 4 weeks of the first semester, you are able to change your registration. You can add courses for the second semester and you can drop courses that you are doing in the first or second semesters. We also have a regional network and registration is carried out at all 28 centers and they have to follow the same procedure, including, most importantly, verifying your identity. Your documents are kept at the regional center, even though some scans are passed to Colombo. And it's important that they follow the same procedure, and the procedure may be long and complicated. The other thing that we allow is payment in installments. Payment is in 2 installments. So that also complicates the process of registration. Now, please understand that at the moment at the Open University, you have to register for both semesters of an academic year at the same time. It is not the ideal situation, but that is the way it is at the moment. Registration is done at all regional and study centers, but your registration has to be confirmed by the Colombo administration. That is confirmed only after you submit all your documents and they are checked at the regional center and the Colombo center, and the Colombo center verifies your payment. It is only then that you are officially registered, even though you may already have a student record book. The registration has to be confirmed, and this takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Please cooperate and do your part. Bring all the documents with the copies, as I will explain later. Follow the instructions for the payment. Do all that according to the instructions and make it easy for us. Then the program can begin on time. Sometimes things are delayed because just a few students have not done something properly. You must understand all the requirements to do something properly. Listen carefully to this presentation and ask all your questions on the LMS. For example, don't wait to go to registration to find out that you do not have the basic qualifications. Please remember that just because you pass the selection test does not mean that you can register. Last year we had some students who had not passed 3 advanced level subjects and they did not understand that that is a requirement until they went to registration. That just wastes everybody's time. Prepare your documents, understand the process, and everyone will be happy. So for the software engineering program, you have completed a selection test and been selected for the program. Selected applicants will receive an email. Now this email will come to the email address on the application. It is very important that you are still maintaining that email address. We have no other way to communicate with you, right? By the time that this presentation is being recorded, I think already you have received this email. You will also get an SMS to the mobile phone number you gave with your application asking you to check your email. So if you don't see the email, you must check your spam folder, right? There is something called a spam folder. So it's very important to make sure that you have received this email. The email will tell you what is your assigned center for registration and also give you a date and a time to come and register. The date and time are given so that everybody doesn't go at the same time. So please cooperate and do your best to come at that date and time. There are some students who are working, for example, then they can come at a time that's good for them. But everybody else should come at the time given in the email. In addition to assigning you a center and a date and time for registration, the email should also have a link that takes you to the Open University payment portal for you to make the payment of the first installment of registration fees. I will discuss the fees and how the payment can be made later on in this presentation. For the moment, please remember that you should try to come to the center at the given date and time so that the center can handle all the students who come without having a long queue. Now, at this stage, it's extremely important to decide what your center should be. Some of you have, for example, who are far away from Colombo, have put Colombo in your application. So you may want to change the center, or you can change the center for any reason, but you must change it now. That means at your first registration. It will not be possible to change your center during the academic year. Once you register at a center for at least that 1 year, you have to use that center. So you want to change your center, that is the center that you get in the email. If you want to change it, take your documents that I'm going to list later on and go to the center that you want, right? Not the center given in the email, but you go to the center that you want. And if you're doing that, please go early on the very first day of registration so that you do not upset their program. Please do not go on the Saturday unless you are a working student. All non-working students, if you are changing a center, please go on Wednesday itself so that you do not burden your center. And once you choose that center and register there, you must attend all academic activities at that center. That is very important. We cannot manage all the students if they just go to any center they want at any time. It's not allowed. Now it's again, please listen carefully to the guidelines to select your center. You can register at any regional or study center. If the center in your application and the one in your email is convenient, then stick to that center. Many applicants have this idea that there is some magic about the Colombo or Kandy regional centers. So people from Monaragala try to register at the Colombo Center, or people from Dambulla try to register at the Kandy Center. There is no magic about these centers. They just have bigger centers and they have more students. But you do not have to register at these centers to come and meet these students. That's what very important to understand. There are no physical lectures that are conducted only in Colombo. Right? And if there are 1 or 2 sessions with lecturers, then if you really want to spend the money and time and come from Monaragala to Colombo, you can do that even if you're registered in Monaragala, right? Once you register, for example, in Monaragala, you can use any facility at any center. You can walk into the Colombo Center or the Kandy Center at any time that it is open with your record book and you'll be allowed in. Right? So There is no magic about registering at a big regional center. Please stick to the one that is convenient for you. Convenient for what? You must attend all on-site continuous assessment tests and computer laboratory sessions at your center. So that is the most important criterion. If you are in Munaragala and you choose Colombo, then you'll be traveling all the time to Colombo. Unless you are very rich, this is going to be very expensive for you, right? So please select the most convenient center for your academic activities, the continuous assessment tests and the computer laboratory sessions, right? There are sessions where you can't do it from home. You have to come to the Open University Computer Center where somebody will verify your identity and make sure that you are not copying, where you have to do some activities. Now, the final examination at the end of the year, you can take at another center. There is a process where you can apply online and select a center. So that flexibility is there, but for the duration of the 2 semesters, you must stick to the center that you register. So please select this carefully. Don't select Colombo because it will give you an advantage. There is no advantage. You get all the advantages of Colombo, even if you are registered in another center, right? It's very important to remember. Now, the registration process. The payment can be made before or during registration. Again, I will discuss that ahead. First, you must decide on the courses that you will register for. For that, we had a separate presentation on academic counseling, which has been made available to you. There are also, we did Zoom sessions introducing all the subjects, and there is a lot of material on the learning management system. You have to use all that information and select the courses that you will do for both semesters. This registration is for both semesters. Don't forget that. Please decide on your courses before you come to the center. Do not go to the center and start thinking about it. Similarly, you have to take the decision to register for these courses. Don't go to the center and just do what some other student is doing, right? Actually, we do not want you in the program if you are like that. The software engineering program is for people who can take the responsibility for their own learning. If you are just going to go to the center and do what some senior tells you or what some other student is doing, really, please don't come to this program, right? You must be responsible for your own learning. At the center, you will go through the registration process, which I will describe in a little bit. You will get your student record book, and there is something that we call the green sheet. It's not green anymore. It has the registered courses printed and it is attached to the record book. After registration is confirmed, you will get an OUSL email account, which is based on Gmail, and you will get a Microsoft account. You will also get access to a portal known as MyOUSL, which allows you to see all your registration information, your grades, and also the payments you have made. And you will get an account on the official learning management system. Please note that currently we are on a temporary learning management system for the induction program. Now to the fees. Fees are paid in 2 installments. The first installment is due at registration. That means next week. And it consists of 50% of your credit fees for the regular courses plus initial fees plus the full fee for some other courses which I will talk about. Okay? So that is your first installment. Now we have something called add drop, which is on the 2nd and 3rd of June after 4 weeks of your first semester. At add drop, if you add courses, you have to also pay the first installment of those courses at that time. Right? Now, the second installment, which is 50% of the credit fees for the regular courses, is payable during the second semester, at the beginning of the second semester, which may be September 2026. You will get another email from the university asking you to pay. I should tell you that if you do not pay the second semester, the second installment, your results for all those subjects will not be released. Right? So it's very important to be ready to pay the second installment as well. Now, the email that you received will be, when you go to the payment portal, there will be an estimated first installment for you. This is to make things easy for the students and for the university. Right? The estimated fee is based on registration for 30 credits. Right? 30 credits in the BSE and also includes MHZ 2250. Now note, if you listen to the presentation on academic counseling, the full course load, not counting the English course, is 32 credits. But the calculation is based on 30 credits. So if you register for 32 credits, you have a slight advantage for a few months. But of course, the extra amount you have to pay for the second installment, right? So we are not going to give it for you free. Now, if you register for 28 credits, the university gets a small advantage, but we are not going to steal your money. If you take 28 credits, that additional payment you make if you pay for 30 is reduced from your second installment. Now, so what we are going to tell you is that if you plan to register for around 30 credits, maybe 25 to 32 credits, then the easiest thing is just to pay this first installment before you come to the center. That will make your life easy. It will make our life easy. If you plan to register for significantly fewer than 30 credits, say 15 credits or 20 credits, then you should not pay the estimated fee. You can pay it, but then you'll be making an overpayment. You can come to the center and get the voucher reduced by the assistant director. Only he can do that. You can't do that. And then you take that new voucher and pay at the bank, or you give your card to the director and he will make the payment on the card. That takes time. So that is why we recommend that you do not follow that process. But if you really want to, you can do that. So these are the fees. And I've already had one message saying that I have been saying the fees are approximately 73,000 rupees. And it's less. The calculation I was assuming is different. So go by what they tell you, not by what I have been telling you. And remember, I always said it is approximate. The calculation here should be what you are seeing in the voucher that you see at the payment portal. We have these initial fees, registration, facilities fee, library fee. They have to be paid 100% at the first installment. Tuition fees are 4,190 per credit, 50% on the first installment, 50% on the second installment. So the voucher for the first installment, assuming 30 credits, will be 65,950 rupees. Right? Now, at registration, you may also add the English for academic purposes course. So then you may have to pay an extra payment of 50% of the 5,500 rupees. That's a separate special course. So there is no per credit fee like that. There is a fee of 5,500 for all the students in the university if you take one of these courses. Right? Now we have talked about academic counseling and the minimum credits. So if you take the minimum credits and the English course, your first installment will be about 25,000 rupees. There is an optional library deposit which you can add at registration if you want. So this is the amount that you get on your voucher, and we are going to tell you that it's easy for the university and for you if you just make that payment, assuming that you have the money, right? Never mind exactly how many credits you are going to take. So now, should you pay the estimated fee before coming to registration? Yes. If you are certain, first of all, that you have all the educational qualifications and all the documents needed. If you register and do not produce your advanced level certificate, even after some time, then your registration will be cancelled and you have to get your money back. That may take some time. So make the payment in advance only if you're sure that you have all the basic qualifications for the program. And you make the payment in advance also only if you will register for something on the order of 25 to 32 credits, which is the maximum. Then you can pay by credit or debit card or cash to People's Bank. I will tell you about that in detail again. Even if the portal says that there is easy cash or any other method, do not use that. That is not activated at the moment. And you cannot just do bank transfers. You cannot make payments at an ATM. If you are paying to the bank, you have to take your cash to the People's Bank, right? So that's very important to understand. So paying before you come saves you time and saves us time. So please consider doing that. Now you do not pay in advance if you are not clear about your educational qualifications, or if you plan to register for a lot fewer than 30 credits, much less than the full course load. Then you come to the center, get the director to reduce your voucher and pay that new amount, right? Don't forget, you cannot reduce the voucher. You cannot go to the payment portal and reduce the voucher. If you are paying in advance, you have to pay that amount, 65,950. So now the methods of payment, the link in the email is to the payment portal. You enter your NIC number, then you should see that you're getting a voucher for the software engineering program. Please check that. And you get a choice. You can either download and print a voucher and take that to the People's Bank with the cash, or you can directly pay by credit or debit card. When you pay by credit or debit card, you do not download a voucher, right? So now if you pay at the bank, you use the information from the voucher and put it in the paying in slip, and they will stamp the paying in slip saying money received, and they will give it back to you. You need to bring that payment slip to the registration. If you're reducing the voucher, then you get the new voucher from the center and take it to the bank and make the payment. But please remember that banks are only open on weekdays until 3 p.m. So if you're doing this on Saturday, then you will have to come back to the center the next Tuesday, because centers don't work on Mondays, and give them the payment slip. Otherwise, your registration will not be completed. Now, before you use the credit or debit card, make sure it is activated for online banking, and save a screenshot of the receipt if you're doing it on your computer. It's very important. That is your first proof of payment, right? You give that to the center and they will say, okay, I have seen the screenshot, and then the Colombo center will check that it has come to their account. Right? There is no voucher, there is no piece of paper. So when you're paying online by credit card or debit card, please save a screenshot of the receipt that you will see on that screen. Now, after the voucher is reduced, you don't have to pay only with cash. You can take your card to the center and the assistant director will make the payment using your card in front of you, of course, but he will have to have your card and use it with his access to the payment portal. No easy cash or other method. Please remember that. No online banking transfers. Again, if you are paying before coming to the center, you must pay that full estimated fee. You cannot pay a lower fee. It won't allow you to. We have already given you plenty of information to select your courses. There is the guidebook. Again, we'll remind you, you must select courses for both semesters. There are separate presentations and material on the LMS. I've already told you that. Academic counseling, introduction to subjects, introductory material for each course on the LMS. Now, just to remind you, we talked about it in the other presentation. Why should you not take a full course load? There are three possible reasons. One is that you do not have the academic background to handle the full load. You are weak in English and mathematics, and possibly also you have no experience with computer programming, so you may not want to take the full course load. You do not have the time. You are employed or you have family commitments for a full course load. Finally, you don't have the funds right now to register for the full course load, right? So when you're not registering for the full course load, you can register for first semester courses now if you don't have the money, and add second semester courses at drop, assuming that you have the money at that stage to pay for the courses you add. You have to pay 50% at that point. You have to complete the counseling form. It's on the LMS, but you don't have to print it. It will be given to you at the center. You have to complete that yourself and sign, and then we keep that form. Let us have a look at the form. This is the counseling form that you have to fill. It's 2 pages. You have to put in your name, registration number, which will be given to you in the email. The email will give you a registration number. The center, you must put in your personal email address and your telephone number. Now, it's very important to put the correct details here and your home address. This should match the information that is in the management information system. In other words, if this has changed since your application, or if the application information somehow was put in wrong, you can check with the assistant director. You can look at the screen, he will show you, and he will also check and make changes now. So what you write here will be what he puts into the system. So please do that very carefully, right? Your name, you must write it the way that you want in the degree certificate that you will get, right? Once the name is in the system, that is the way it will appear on the degree certificate and all other letters we give about you, right? Once you fill that in, you must fill that information, and then you identify the courses that you want. We have been through the academic counseling. All of you have to take this course. Most of you will have to take one of these 2 English courses, right? The only people who don't have to take an English course are people who have got an A grade in general English or passed the advanced level in the English medium. Then you are exempted from the English courses. If you have not passed advanced level mathematics, you again must register for this mathematics course. After that, you get to choose the courses in the BSE program. The first semester courses, one course that is in 2 semesters, and second semester courses. So you decide, you have decided in advance. I told you, don't come to the center and think about it. You get the piece of paper and you quickly fill it in. And then there are few students who are exempted from some of these courses. They are able to possibly take level 4 courses. That's a very small number. They can put in the details here. And finally, and very importantly, we want you to sign under these conditions. So this is to acknowledge that you have read these conditions. The first thing is that the BSc is delivered in the distance learning mode, and that you understand there are no lectures. You also understand that the medium of instruction is English. You understand that there is a 6-month full-time on-site industrial training module for this program. And you undertake to attend all the laboratory activities and the continuous assessment tests at this center, right? So once you sign this, then you say, no, I want to change it. We will show you this piece of paper and say, no, you have already signed this. If you come and say, I want lectures, I didn't understand that there were no lectures, then we will show you and say, you have read this and you have signed this, right? That is why we have this, because in the past, some students have made that kind of complaint, right? Similarly, these things also are very important for you to acknowledge, that these final exams and academic activities are conducted on site. That means you have to come to a center, and scheduled on weekdays as well as weekends. We can't schedule everything only on weekends. So you are signing here, and the academic counselor or center director will also sign. This is now evidence that you have accepted all these conditions. We will keep this counseling form for our records. So finally, we'll remind you again, before coming to center for registration, best if you make the payment at the bank or use the credit or debit card, and you must bring the paying in slip or screenshot of receipt for card payment, right? This is if you are paying before. If you are bringing a card to the center, make sure it's activated. Collect all the documents that I'm going to list now and make copies as required, and be ready with your course selection so that you can fill the counseling form quickly, right? Otherwise, you are just wasting your time and other people's time. So pre-registration check. Make sure that you have the original advanced level certificate issued by the Department of Examinations. You can get that online now. If not, you have to get the GC advanced level research sheet certified by the principal of your school. It's very important to note that if your name on the educational certificate is different from the name on your birth certificate or NIC, you have to submit an affidavit signed by a justice of the peace saying that you are the same person. Otherwise, it will not be accepted. These are the documents you need: birth certificate, original and photocopy. Advanced level certificate, original and photocopy. If you have any other educational certificates that you have used to get exemptions, that is just a few students, then you have to bring the original and a photocopy. Your national identity card, original and a copy. Your voucher with payment slip and receipt, if you made the payment in advance. 2 passport size photographs. We are going to give you the guidelines, and the counseling form that you have been given, completed and signed. These are the documents. Please look at this list very carefully and make sure you bring everything. Right? So if you have an entry qualification in addition to the A levels, you must bring the original and photocopy, and you will be given the exemption only if you have those documents to prove it. Now, EAP, in addition to the qualifications from the advanced levels, like having A in general English, you have these other qualifications also, then you can be exempted from the English program, right? Very few students are having these, but I will leave it up here. You can read it. Similarly, another set of things for which you can get exempted from the English program. Now, the photograph that you bring, passport size photographs, it should be like this: straight view, eyes should be looking at the camera, and both ears should be visible, very important. Can be colored or black and white. So what happens at registration? First, they look at the payment. If you want to reduce your voucher, the assistant director has to communicate with the finance division in Colombo and reduce the voucher. This takes time because there are only 1 or 2 people doing this in Colombo, and there are so many students making requests. If the voucher is reduced, then you get a new voucher and you go to the bank and pay cash, or you use the card at the center. Either way, whether you are paying before or on that day, the assistant director will then verify the payment. Only after verifying the payment will the next steps happen. Once the payment is verified, then you go to a process called file scrutiny. A file will be opened for you. They will look at all the documents and certify that the copies are good copies and keep in the file. They will keep one photo in the file and they will keep the signed counseling form in the file, right? Then they will verify the details in the system. They will check your name, NIC, address, and phone number and confirm the payment again. So now the change of center must be done at this stage of registration, right? Changes may not, will not be allowed later. If you are changing the name, NIC, address, or phone number from what is in the system, you must do it now. But if you are changing your name or NIC, then you need to bring documents to prove that you had the wrong NIC in the system. Very important. There are actually 1 or 2 students in this intake like that. Finally, the assistant director of the center will enter the selected courses into the system, and it has to be done according to how the system wants it, and confirm the courses and print this green sheet. It's not green now, but we still call it the green sheet, and give you the record book with the photograph and the green sheet, right? So that is the end of the process of registration. Now, if you come without your birth certificate or something, then they will stop halfway. They will open a file maybe, but then they'll have to keep the file aside until you bring it. So your registration is not complete, right? So that's very important. It's up to you to complete your registration after that. Normally at registration, course material is collected, but right now, since this is February, the course material is not yet ready. So you will have to go back to your center at the end of April or in early May to collect the course material for the courses, right? Now this is what your record book looks like. I'm showing you one of your senior batch students from the first batch with his permission. The first page will have the date of first registration and your photograph there, the date stamp on this the cover. The colors may be different now. Now it looks orange. It's a book of many pages, like a passport. The new one is orange now. And for every year that you register, your registration number is also there. And the student ID number. There are 2 numbers now, registration number and student ID number. For every year that you register, this piece of paper will be pasted into one page of the record book. This is called the green sheet because many years ago it used to be green when printed out. And it has got all the courses that you have registered for. So before you leave the center, you must be sure that this list is the same as what you had put in the counseling form, right? It's up to you to check that. Then when they give you course material, they will note it down here. Right? This is for noting what course material has been given. So in next week, this won't happen because course material is not yet ready. So again, I already told you this, but what happens next? Then the registration has to be confirmed. The division in Colombo has to confirm that you have made the payment and the money has come to the Open University. And the center will check all the documents again and confirm it in the system. Then you are in the system as a registered student. Your student ID number is generated. You already have that. You will get an account on the official Open University Learning Management System, and all the courses in the program. Now, this is just the induction program, but all the regular courses and the English course will be delivered through this official LMS, right? In addition, for our program, especially for our program, we have also a learner support course. Just like we are having here, there will be one for the official LMS as well, where all the BSc students will be there, and you can ask questions about the program or your payments and things like that, just like you're doing here. You will get a OUSL Gmail address. It will look like this. It will be your student ID number at ousl.lk, and our official communications will be to this address, not to your personal address. It is your responsibility to maintain the password to this address and read the emails there. Because you are a student and Microsoft is giving free accounts to students, you will get a Microsoft account as well, which will be used if Microsoft Teams is there, but you will also get access to certain Microsoft facilities free. The Start at OUSL program will bring in March. There is only one course, I've already told you about this, Empowerment for Independent Learning. The English courses will begin in July, like I've already mentioned, and the first semester begins in May. But for the new students, some subjects will begin in March, and even if we don't begin the subjects in March, we will be telling you for every level 3 subject, we'll be giving you identifying resources where you can pick up the background to that subject, so that when you come to the course, it's not a lot of new things. There'll be a detailed activity diary for each subject that is developed by the end of April, where you can plan out your activities. But that is when the official course begins in May. Now, it's very important to understand, again, we are very flexible. After doing all this, after registering and paying, you can withdraw from the program at any time. You can withdraw at any time. But if you withdraw before ad drop, which is this year, 2nd and 3rd June, you can get a 90% refund of all the fees that you have paid. Right? So keep that in mind. For something may happen, you have some other emergency, or you have to go abroad, or you find that this is not the course for you. Up to that date, 4 weeks of the first semester, you can taste the course and decide to withdraw. If you withdraw any other time, you don't get the refund. Now, ad drop. It's extremely important to understand ad drop. Again, it's part of the flexibility of the Open University. It's a chance to change the courses you are registered for. It happens after 4 weeks of the first semester, 2nd and 3rd June 2026. You can add courses to your registration, and you have to add for both semesters. It's very important. But as we have said, please do not add first semester courses, because if you add first semester courses, we have already missed 4 out of 15 weeks of the first semester. That is a big amount of the course. So do not plan to add first semester courses. When you register next week, take all the first semester courses that you want to take. You can register for fewer second semester courses and decide to add these courses during the ad drop, right? You may not register for everything because you're not sure if you can handle the load, or because you don't have money. So you can wait till 2nd and 3rd of June to add the courses in the second semester. But don't forget, when you add those courses, 50% of the fees, that is the first installment, you have to pay at that time. Now, on these 2 days, you can also drop courses. You can remove from registration for both semesters. If the course load is too much, you have tried to do the full course load for 4 weeks. It's already very difficult. Please drop some courses. Don't try to do all the courses and fail some of them. Like I said, then you will not be able to anyway complete the program in 4 years. You may as well decide to do a 5-year program at this stage. Okay? So you can drop courses from the first semester and the second semester. Now, if you drop a course, you have already paid the first installment. You don't get it refunded, but we don't steal your money. It is credited to your account. So the second installment that you have to pay will be less, right? Once again, please understand, add drop is only happening on the 2nd and 3rd of June, and it applies to both semesters. There is no add drop before or during the second semester. There is also a separate drop date, and this is only relevant to academic penalties. So you are given some more time, another 4 weeks, so 8 weeks of the semester, and you think, okay, I'm going to fail this course. Now you can drop the course up to this date, then you don't get the fees back, but at least you do not get a failing grade. If you don't drop the course, you get a failing grade. Next year you take the course again, then the maximum grade you will get is a C, even if you do very well. So if you think this course you are going to fail and you don't want to waste time on it anymore, you drop it before the 7th, on the 7th of July. Then next year when you do it, you can get the full grade, right? So to avoid this academic penalty only, you drop the course. But there is no refund. Once again, there is only one drop date. Huh? It applies to courses in both semesters. So we have already given you information. Study the guidebook and the introductory sessions and the material and select your courses. You can ask questions on the LMS before you go for registration. Once you register, please check that the courses in the record book are the same as what is in the counseling form. And when you get access to your MyOUSL portal, check that what's in the record book and what's in MyOUSL are the same also, right? If you come and say that something is wrong, we will immediately check with the counseling form to see whether you made a mistake or we made a mistake. Once again, your degree certificate will be issued with the name that appears in the student record book. So at registration, you have to get that corrected. All questions on the LMS, please. There's a topic for registration and different forums to ask about the fees and various other things. But before you ask questions, review all the information, check the other questions that people have asked, and do not call or email anybody.